What's going on, everybody? I'm back with another video. This video is going to be looking at the match that got Graham Potter sacked for Chelsea. Now, before getting into the tactics behind the match, check out both my books. There's links in the description below. And also check out Live Tag Pro. It's a new program I'm using and I'm going to be using from here on out. Check it out in the description below and let's get right into the video.
Chelsea sack Graham Potter after their Premier League match versus Aston Villa and their loss as well. That sends them in the bottom half of the Premier League table for their Premier League season, despite still being alive in the Champions League. So we're going to look at the tactics behind the match from Chelsea and Aston Villa that led to the defeat. So first we'll look at Aston Villa in their build-up phase. Aston Villa built out of the back using a back four, typically using wider fullbacks and showing a little bit of asymmetry within their fullbacks. Now from here they would then go with two narrow sixes that would often stagger, usually focusing on the right six playing deeper and attracting this pressure from Chelsea's front three. That shows a bit of asymmetry because of the double six with their wingbacks jumping on, and then their back three playing man-to-man against the front three of Aston Villa, and their double six from Chelsea staggering to then create man orientation and midfield matching with the player dropping from their front three. So how this looks from Chelsea is their front three very fluid, changing positions and each player able to press in a different role. So from here, the front three would press and usually press from out to in and sometimes look to set central pressing traps through the two sixes. This is how Chelsea created a big chance in the first half early on by trying to play through their sixes under pressure and allowing Chelsea to have the ability to find these players with individual duels in dangerous areas, primarily winning the ball and trying to win the ball in the central three corridors. Now the two sixes for Chelsea, they would stagger themselves to match the midfield, the number 10 dropping deeper from Aston Villa, and the second holding midfielder on this right hand side for Chelsea. Now the wingbacks would jump on to create direct access to the fullbacks of Aston Villa and deter Aston Villa from playing through wide areas with mid-range passes. And now finally, the back three from Chelsea played very aggressive and saw man orientation being used against the attacking midfielders and the wide midfielders of Aston Villa, with their one central striker being occupied by Koulibaly. Now in midfield, Aston Villa went with a very interesting setup with their 4-2-3-1, showing their narrow wingers and allowing their wingers to actually play as number 10s through the half spaces. Their two holding midfielders create diagonal passing options into these players, and because Chelsea's use of man orientation, there's a big reliance on the first line of Aston Villa's build-up to create man advantages and have this carry over into midfield. Also, Aston Villa looking to play direct worked very well at times against this Chelsea team because of the lack of cover with playing a back three very man-oriented and allowing their central defenders to jump higher up the field to these attacking midfield positions. So now here's a situation where Aston Villa will look to play direct, which will work very well because when they skip lines, they'll not only have good runners in behind via Ollie Watkins running in behind from the halfway line. Now the lines are messing up the image a little bit, but you get the idea. With Ollie Watkins running in behind, they can target the half spaces for long diagonal balls with runners in behind, and a very underrated quality of playing direct is the second ball support, and we'll highlight that now. And with this second ball support from their two holding midfielders and attacking midfielders, they have cover underneath with runs in behind, ultimately exploiting this very high line from Chelsea and this very man-oriented back line. And they look to create a numerical advantage with their right center back or their weak side center back tucking in to create 2-versus-1s. But Ollie Watkins is very good at running off the shoulder. That ultimately gives them a very good advantage when they do play direct to Sean McGinn. Now in the midfield third, they started with a 4-4-2 shape, with the wide midfielders looking to jump and ignite the press. Now this was also followed up by the two central strikers playing just in front of the two eights that use their cover shadows to block these positions and force Chelsea to circulate around first line passes, and often even set pressing traps in and around the two holding midfielders that allowed Aston Villa to win the ball and counter and transition with a numbers advantage going forward. And from the mid block, they had space in behind to separate connections and create dangerous chances from the midfield third attacking transition. So here we see them winning the ball, and the ball is played wide with a 3v3 against the back line with support underneath, but Chelsea also have the two holding midfielders, so a 5 against 4, but still in a dangerous position. And because the three central defenders have to jump out and address the ball, this will leave Koulibaly alone 1v1 marking in the box with the whole penalty area to run into, so a very dangerous transition for Aston Villa. And because of the support underneath, Aston Villa have a fluid attacking transition and different options to hurt Chelsea in these moments, with space in behind going very direct and vertical towards goal. Now, playing in the low block was one of the common trends throughout the whole of the match, and Aston Villa often went with a back six. They would make this back six from their wide midfielders dropping or midfielders dropping into the last line of defense. As we see here, the midfielders drop into the last line, creating a back six, and the back four, now the original back four, can stay within the penalty area and not get drawn out, and these connections won't be lengthened and stretched for Chelsea players to run in behind. The midfield three will then be made up of the two holding midfielders and the number 10. From here, Ollie Watkins will often favor this left-hand side, creating this 6-3-1 with a bit of asymmetry and ready to transition. Now, these defenders in this back line look to readily jump out and create pressure between the lines. This allows the pressure to arrive from the defensive line and not allow easy turns within the structure. The three central midfielders will be tasked with using their cover shadow to block passes and isolate the ball, looking to win the ball with numbers so they can more easily transition forward and catch Chelsea out. Now we'll look at the last picture here of the back six, and we'll show them jumping to the midfielders of Chelsea, especially the attacking midfielders like Kai Havertz, João Felix for Chelsea, with these Aston Villa players jumping. Now the left fullback jumps with the left midfielder dropping, creating the back six. Now we'll see the midfield three securing central positions and not allowing easy diagonal passes into the half space. So the midfield three were crucial when the wide midfielders would drop and create this back six structure, with Ollie Watkins favoring this left-hand side and preparing to isolate the ball and prepare for transition. Now, Chelsea's approach to breaking this down was very stagnant, and even though they missed a few very high-quality chances in the first half, ultimately they've been pretty poor lately. And I think whoever they get, whether it'll be Nagelsmann or any of the other managers out there, they'll come in and completely change the way this team is playing, and it'll be an exciting team to watch tactically moving forward. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.